Dating apps are all about sex.
I agree with that. A lot of times when I'm on apps, it's always based off looks first. Like, I'm not even reading your bio or anything, and I'm just...
Man's not even reading your bio. The orange hoodie is back. I'm on the orange beanbag, which means it's another reaction video. Today, we're gonna be watching the Jubilee video. Are dating apps all about sex? Oh, and you know, we'll see what they say. Let's jump right in.
In my DMs every day, we get like dozens of pics.
Yeah.
Unsolicited, foreign, older gentlemen.
Oh wow, already.
What is a misconception people have about online dating?
It's maybe that it sort of serves a narrow lane of like horny men.
That everyone's being something that they're not. Someone's pretending.
I personally had a great experience with online dating. I met a great guy.
Not everyone does very well on dating apps. Some of my stronger qualities are how I make you feel, and that's not necessarily something that can come through on a dating app.
I feel like the online dating thing has really skewed how young men and women especially look at relationships.
But I think I'm open-minded, so I would love to learn just to see what kind of...
I think online dating has stopped people from looking at relationships a lot of the time. A lot of people don't go on online dating and stuff, especially Tinder and all this swiping culture, to find a relationship, if we're gonna be completely honest.
The success that they had.
I'm Anne-Marie, and I'm a stay-at-home mom.
My name is Percy, I'm 24, and I'm an actor.
Alrighty, I'm Eric, I'm 21, and I'm a student, and I have a little social media stuff.
I'm Brittany, I'm 28, I'm a holistic healer and a yoga instructor.
I'm Philip, I am 24, and I'm a director at Jubilee.
Why is he hesitating on his age? He's like, I'm 20, what am I again?
And I'm Kendra, I'm 27, and I'm the casting producer at Jubilee.
Dating apps are all about sex.
I was a little hesitant to come up here because, again, I think it depends for certain people. But my generation, a lot of people just use it for hookups.
I was hesitant to come up here too because I don't think it's all about sex, but I do think it's mostly about sex. I think it is harder to meet someone who is on there genuinely to like find a connection and get to know someone who doesn't want that, because for me personally, I want to wait to have sex until marriage. And I had a friend tell me I was too wholesome.
She wants to wait till marriage. That's so rare to find. That's gonna be hard to find online, if we're being honest. That's gonna be quite difficult to find.
And I was like, I was too wholesome, and that's why I wasn't getting any matches, because I wasn't like showing cleavage and I wasn't posting like thirst trap pictures.
I've been through it all. So just Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, even Facebook has a thing now. But a lot of times it's just, you know, I'm going.
Bro, his hair looks like he's been through it all. Love it though, he must have blow dried it out for sure. He was like, I'm getting on set, I'm gonna make it as big as possible.
I had a time where I was on 14 different dating apps, and everyone was like, well, Kendra, why don't you like go on Christian Mingle? Christian Mingle is full of men who just want nice Christian girls and who are actually like Christian. And it's just like,
Okay,
I'm
opening my business.
I don't even know 5, do I? I don't even know 10, let alone 14.
Dates normally with guys, I would have just as much pressure as I would online.
Oh yeah,
It's just,
go out.
from an online perspective, that's not what I was looking for at the time. But when I was looking for that at the time, online is an easy way to find it.
Did you meet your boyfriend on an
I did, I
app?
met him on Tinder.
You did?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. Yeah,
met his
we've been
man
going
on
out for
Tinder.
4 years now. He lives over in Philadelphia, and yeah.
I've never actually like gone on a date outside of a dating app. So
I definitely feel that's gonna be a thing where most people at some point will only ever go on dates from dating apps. That's crazy, man, that's crazy.
to a dating app is that you'll like get along with the other person. I mean, I have platonic friendships from people who I've like met through apps like that where it just like didn't work out, and like I think that the reality is for a lot of people, part of being in a relationship with someone is like sex. So it's really just like a matter of like thinking down the line.
Online dating perpetuates discrimination.
The kind of discrimination that I'm thinking of is good looks versus average looks. I feel like it sets a standard that's not normal.
Okay. You said looks.
Yeah.
And I completely...
I don't think dating apps perpetuate the whole discrimination on good looks and not good looks. Like, people have always been more attracted to people who they find more good looking than others. You know, I guess dating apps is just a way in which that is showcased, but I don't think that's what they encourage necessarily.
Agree with that. A lot of times when I'm on apps, it's always based off looks first. Like, I'm not even reading your bio or anything, and I'm just being honest.
Man's not even reading your bio.
I'll swipe right, and then if something comes along.
But girls take pictures from up here. That's not that's not reality.
Because they're trying to show that chest. They're trying to show that chest.
There's a lot of racism in dating apps, and that is just the fact. The founder of OkCupid released a study back in 2014 where he made a graph and collected people's preferences. And it showed that Black women and Asian men are the least preferred on dating apps. I've had guys when I was on dating apps say the most disgusting racist things to me, like, let's play dress up like you're the slave and I'm the master, or like I've never dated a Black girl before, or like you're pretty for a Black girl. Just microaggressions like that, and it's disgusting. And it.
You know what, Ra? That's actually true. I went on a date with this older woman one time, and legit, she said to me, you know, I told her that my family are Nigerian, and she goes, "Oh wow, like you're quite good looking for a Nigerian." Did I go on another date with her? No. Did she pay for herself? Absolutely. She should have paid for me, after saying that.
So I have the exact opposite opinion of Kendra's, where I feel like online dating has put me in front of people that I wouldn't normally. My fiance is Italian and he's never dated a Black girl before. I love him, he's the love of my life, and I met him dating online, and I don't think that we would have met in real life with our paths crossing. And I really apologize for that. It's like, it's okay for people to not like me in their head. But once you go ahead and send me a message saying like, let's do this, or you like calling me a name, then that's like overt discrimination, and I definitely understand that.
Because I feel like so often when people are like, oh, even when people say stuff like, oh, I only date Black women, it makes me feel like I'm less. Like, why can't you just like me because you think I'm beautiful, or because you think I have a good sense of humor? Why can't you like me for basic qualities in which you like other women? Why do I have to be other because of the color of my skin? That's what bothers me.
Realistically, dating apps don't perpetuate, you know what I mean, discrimination. Because I feel like you come onto a dating app with your own preconceived notions of people. You come on, and if you choose to be racist, or if you choose to act in a certain way, that was you as a person already. It's not because the dating app, you know what I mean?
But what do you think about dating apps? So dating apps like OkCupid,
yeah, that's just reflected in your choices, but it doesn't support that or encourage it.
I don't think inherently there's a problem with an app like catering to what it thinks your preferences are, because people wouldn't use it if it didn't give them what they were like expecting to see or like wanting to see. It's hard to tell someone that they're wrong for liking or disliking a certain thing unless they're being like outwardly hateful.
I mean, what's the difference? I think discrimination and preference is two different categories. Having a preference.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, is it okay to have a preference? And if you have a preference, why do you have that preference? I actually have a video about that, which I'll just pop up here, about is having a racial preference, is that racist? Whether that's being, you know, you prefer white or Black or Asian, is it racist? Don't know.
And then discriminating should not be intertwined.
But I think preferences invite discrimination, because if you prefer something, then a whole group of people are discriminated against. Because
that's my love. Am I not allowed to?
No, I'm not saying that you're not. I do think everyone kind of goes into dating apps with a racial bias. I cast a lot of dating shows for Jubilee, and we'll do like versus one or T for two. And the first question I ask people is, do you have a preference of ethnicity? And they always say no. And then a question later down the line will be like, can you describe physically what your person that you're attracted to looks like? And they'll say things like blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, traditionally white people have blonde hair and blue eyes. So you do have like a racial preference, you know?
I have felt unsafe when meeting up with a date.
So when I was younger, I was just scared to go on a date because I have had bad experiences. When I was 11 years old, I was sexually molested by a basketball coach in the community. So ever since then, it kind of put a bad connotation of like, I don't feel safe. Even when I did start going out on dates, I would have to drive my own car. I would let my friends know, like, hey, this is the person that I'm going out with. I send them my location. that kind of made me feel a little bit safer.
I'm really sorry that
Yeah,
happened
that's
to
tough
you, Brittany.
for that to
that
happen.
is really unfortunate. I can't imagine. Me personally, I don't think I've ever felt unsafe because I always make sure that I meet someone in a public space. I always make sure I
Smart.
tell at least one other person where I'm going and who I'm meeting with. I also tell them what dating app I met.
100%. I mean, you know, this could be work for guys as well, but I think especially for women, like when you go on a date where you're meeting someone for the first time, A, it should always be in a public space, and B, you should always tell someone who you know where you're going. You just never know who you're meeting. Just because they appear one way online, you could meet them and it could be catfish. For sure, always meet in a public space as well. And if you're meeting someone for the first time, why would you want to be in a private space anyway where you don't even know them that well? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, always meet in a public space, at least the first, maybe even as well as the second time.
Them on, and I make sure to like set a time for them to check in with me.
You know, I've actually, you know, believe it or not, a good-looking guy like me, I've never been on a date, you know, with someone online, you know. But I usually get to know the person.
Bruh, that joke fell so flat.
Because again, it's a lot of courage to be even just to ask, you know. But again, everybody's experience is different, and I can see why for you it would be such a hard thing to cope with, and I completely understand.
Honestly, I feel like the day and age that we live in now, everything is totally accessible, especially information. So we hear about all these kidnappings and we hear about people, you know, like young women, not to say that it doesn't happen to men, but it's like, you know, they're
But like
being
people
missing
are
and
still
taken.
just meeting up at people's houses to hook up off of dating apps. I'm like, that is the most dangerous thing
Well,
that
even
you
not
can
just
do.
a house, even if you go to a public place, you know what I mean?
It's true.
You can still
People match and they find each other really attractive and they're just both up for it, and they'll just go to each other's houses and they'll just do whatever. Like that happens all the time. Not from my experience.
Online dating makes it harder to commit to one person.
So I've
I think
been
that's true.
with
I think
my
it does.
current girlfriend for
For a lot of
about a year, and we met on a dating app. I don't think it makes it harder to stay committed, but I do feel like it probably makes it harder to decide on like the initial commitment. There's a portion of time where we like still both had the dating apps downloaded after we started like dating, and it wasn't like considered exclusive yet. And there's just sort of this like thing in the air where it was like, well, who's gonna like delete the apps first?
I feel like I have a hard enough time picking my favorite flavor at the ice cream store. You know what I mean? And then, like, if I were like dating now and I met, you know, a guy online, I would be like second guessing myself all the time. It's like, well, what about that guy from two rows back?
I could not disagree more. I honestly feel like it's not a choice. You don't have to. What's difficult about it? When you love someone, you're like, okay, what? We're sitting in the car together. My fiance and I, we were sitting in the car together. Both of our phones were out. Okay, like delete this, unsubscribe from this. Like nothing was lingering. Like once, like I think it was like our second or third date, we were like, for us to really give this a chance, clear all that bad energy out, like let all that go so that way you can fully commit. Even if it doesn't work out, give that person a chance.
I agree with what you're saying, but like the one thing is like I'm talking about like
I think for people to be deleting their apps after the third or fourth date, I think that doesn't happen. A lot of people don't even delete their apps, but I think people only really start deleting their apps once they've established they're in a relationship. I agree with what the guy in the hat said. It's definitely can make it harder for that initial commitment because you feel like you have so much choice. But then, you know, once you're in a committed relationship, like I don't think it matters because, you know, that at that point it's just about who you are as a person as opposed to what options you have.
But I do think we have to speak about that larger congregation of people who don't commit because there's that net theory, right? Of if there's a net, I'm going to be less afraid to jump because I know something is going to catch me. I know that I'm going to be safe. So it's like I can go into this and I can say I want to fully commit to this, but if we get into a fight or if they smell bad or if something, there's an out. Like there's always people who are always looking for the exit sign. And I think that's a larger population of people than not.
But then that's the reason why you have to commit, because I remember him mentioning that even when him and his girlfriend were starting to meet up with each other.
I disagree with that because if you're always looking for an exit sign, then you're not committed. Do you know what I mean? You're not committed. Like, you don't stay in a relationship because you don't have other options. Like, you stay in a relationship because you want to be in that relationship, regardless if you have other options or not. I disagree with that point.
Each other. You guys both had these dating apps still downloaded on your phone. For me, it was like, okay, I really like you. I'm giving this a chance. Delete it.
Shit. So okay. So she definitely instigated that whole third or fourth date. We are deleting the dating apps. Like, that didn't come from him. Maybe it came from like a discussion, but she's the one who was like, yo, I'm giving this a chance. If you're gonna give us a chance, we have to delete it. And you know, she even mentioned before that they were sat in the car going through deleting the apps. Yo, for sure, she was like, let's do this together right now. And you know what? I think that's a bit much, but hey, look, she's got the man, he's her fiance, and you know, they're about to live happily ever after. So, I don't know, maybe that's the way to go, ladies. Maybe that's the way to go.
There is someone out there for everyone.
Ooh.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like, come on.
I mean, I know this isn't a popular opinion, but I do believe there is one person for everyone. When I was 17, for 7 years, I wrote letters to my future husband. I would just write about how I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait to like spend Christmases together. I would talk about the activities I couldn't wait to do with him. And like, I actually was planning on like writing a letter until I met him and then giving it to him like on our wedding night and the whole, I'm so corny, guys. I actually ended up ripping the journal up because at the advice of a therapist, they had told me that I am keeping him in these pages and preventing him from manifesting in real life. And if I want him to come to me in real life, like I can't keep him in these pages. And so I actually,
that's a lie. It's a lie. When I was in high school, I wrote everything down, and then it all came to pass. All of it, all the things that I wrote down that were my dreams.
The key to manifestation is being able to get it out of here and put it in some physical form, whether it be speaking it or writing it. So
I regret it now. Don't worry.
You know, for me coming into this, I wasn't looking at it as me against you, because I do think there's good in both, you know, and it works. And I think at the end of the day, it all just comes down to effort and what you're willing to put in, because you can go online, you can do traditional, but if you only put in 50% of the work
And you're not being a dick.
Yeah, you're being who you really say you are.
I feel like many elements have to meet up, no matter if you're traditional dating or if you're online dating.
And that's it for you guys. Thank you so much.
High fives, y'all.
High fives, yeah, high fives. Ooh. I think the crux of it really is the truth of it. Online dating, the first thing you see is someone's appearance. You know, as that guy said, that's what most people swipe on. Does that play into sex? Of course it does. The first judgment you make on online dating is whether you would have sex with that person based on their physical traits and physical appearance. However, hopefully, if people are deeper than that, you actually want to make sure they're a good person first before you have sex with them. But that only depends on if you're looking for a relationship. If you're not looking for a relationship, which a lot of people aren't, they're just looking to have fun and hook up in this hookup culture, dating apps is where they're going to go, and that's where they have been going. I don't know if they really answer the question in terms of if you're not hot, if you're not attractive, is there any point in going on dating apps? The crux of it is, you know, the more attractive you are, the more interest you're going to get, and that's going to be reflected in your dating life, whether that's with real people or whether that is in dating apps. I do think that because there's so much option on dating apps, right? People are way more picky and people have way more ridiculous high standards, no matter what standards they bring. People always try and punch higher than what they can because you feel like you're being exposed to all these very attractive people and you think, okay, I should be able to bag at least one or two of them. Whereas in real life, you know, if you're not being exposed to that or that person doesn't really give you the time of day and you're not seeing those people, then you kind of have to allow yourself to be more open to connecting with people who maybe on a dating app you might not swipe on. To be honest, I think dating apps really are you're only going to find decent success on a dating app if you are somewhat in this higher category of attractiveness of what people find attractive. I think as an average person, you know, if you're just, you know, you're not unattractive, but you're not necessarily, you know, in the attractive category either, I think you're going to struggle and have a really hard time, especially if you're a guy, But what do you think? Do you think that dating apps are only for people who are very attractive and it only works for people who are very attractive and looking just for sex? Or do you think anybody can use it and you should and you will find a match no matter what it is? So let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, keep it slick.
How?